We are talking about the movie simply called d.n.a. It's also known as genetic code in some countries, and this one is directed by William Messer, who is primarily known for his work in special effects. And this one stars Mark Dacascos, of course, probably most recently known for playing Zero in John Wick 3 Parabellum, and you've also got Jürgen Prochnow in this movie as well. So this movie can basically be described as a mixture of primarily Predator, but also elements of Alien and Jurassic Park. Now the story focuses on Ash, who is played by Mark Dacascos, and he is a doctor who also apparently is an expert martial artist and weapons expert, but you know. Anyway, and he is recruited by Jürgen Prochnow's character to help him try to find this kind of mystical beetle that has apparently got regenerative properties. And he, of course, is double-crossed. And the evil mad scientist also wants to resurrect this remains of this alien that he has found and kind of combine the DNA of this dead alien of that with this beetle to create some type of living weapon. And of course it gets kind of loose and ends up being a problem. And it's up to Ash, played by Mark Dacascos, and a female CIA agent to try and stop both the creature and Jürgen Prochnow's mad scientist and his goons from obviously getting away with it. What will happen? You have to watch the movie to find out. So let's talk about what works first of all with d.n.a. One of Mark Dacascos' lesser known movies, I would say. He does not really do much martial arts in this, if any, to be honest. So I feel this one kind of gets overlooked in his filmography and is not really spoken about very much. And it's very much a science fiction B-movie rather than an action film, but it really does lift elements. In actual fact, scenes and characters are recreated from Predator. I mean, primarily this creature looks like the original. I don't know if you've ever seen the original Predator before they kind of changed the design. It actually looks like that. It's a cross between a guy in a suit sometimes and then a computer generated for kind of like the wide angle shots. But the actual design looks very much like the original Predator design if you've ever seen any of the behind the scenes stuff for that movie. So there's obviously this thing can see with like predator vision, it can turn invisible, it's hunting through the jungle, there's a kind of a big manly face-off at the end of the movie, very much like Predator. You have alien influences where this thing is at the beginning, when it first gets out, is in this complex, and we have these kind of scientists and workers in this complex, and this thing's hunting them through the corridors more like aliens. And then there are almost direct scenes taken from Jurassic Park with the kind of the leaves shaking, and we've got this kind of like this guy on the computer terminal really recreating Sam Jackson's role from Jurassic Park. So there are it's quite fun, I've got to say, in a cheesy B-movie fashion. I actually quite enjoyed a man in this rubber suit monster movie, and this one has got plenty of that. And it does really rip off those movies that I've talked about, but it still is, you can kind of enjoy it in a kind of a lowbrow sense of fashion here. It also benefits being shot in the Philippines. This movie does have some lush jungle and some quite good cinematography in places, with some great kind of location shooting here, and we do get a few variety in sets and things. As I say, some of it takes place in the jungle, some of it takes place within this kind of laboratory complex as well. Mark Dacascos, I think, is effortlessly charming, as he always is, and makes for a kind of a likeable hero. Like, he's meant to be a doctor, but he ends up being this kind of total badass, and we're never really given any kind of reason to know why that is. I feel the movie does actually do something quite shocking in regards to this child. The fate of this child is, it goes in a way that maybe a lot of movies don't go, particularly back in the kind of the 90s when this was released. I think it was 93, this movie, when it came out. And I didn't mind the female character as well, though she's somewhat forgettable. 96, sorry, this movie came out. The female CIA agent is more or less there just to have a female character, to be honest with you. Jürgen Prochnow's chewing up the scenery, and the movie runs at a fair old pace with some, action sequence interspersed in between. What doesn't work? This movie is a total rip-off. There's no denying it. This movie is a total rip-off of mainly Predator. but big influences from there. And it does it so blatantly in certain scenes. I mean, you can't believe this movie has Predator vision and a kind of a Predator thing that goes invisible. And the fact that the design looks so close to the original Predator, it's actually a little bit like, oof, how do they get away with this? Some of these special effects here is a little wonky, to be honest. Yeah, and the movie is obviously a mid-90s movie, so, but even then I feel there are some real bad composite shots here, and just things really don't make a lot of logical sense, to be honest with you. Jürgen Prochnow now just seems to kill all of his kind of people who work for him, and the remaining people, they never seem to bat an eyelid and things like this, and a lot of kind of just cheesiness ultimately, and there are some shots here that I feel just look particularly bad. There's a scene where the helicopter crashes. It looks really bad. The ending as well, I've got to say, is a little bit anticlimactic, to be honest. Now, this is probably a very much run-of-the-mill mid-90s movie, to be honest. There's lots of things I think that are better than this and lots of things that are worse. So I'm going to go straight in the middle of this and just say it's a pretty average mid-90s kind of low-budget action movie, and therefore give it a 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.